substitutes from Coronado. He's in this part of the element. He using his peripheral vision, sees somebody here, jumps out, and he catches him.
So we had some teamwork. So that's letter and accept. So today we're going to kind of just talk about, of course, I was telling Colonel, it's a great segue, just vertically aligned from this morning all the way to the evening. You already discussed this when we start ready to go, right? Definitely, but also maybe some opportunities you're going to have with Falcon Arrow Lab or that you've already had in the past. You're advocating for yourself for that. I got to be great to give that email. Superintendent, right? That's some advocacy, right? And that's agency what we're talking about. So that's good there. And then I'm kind of looking at you two in particular, Wally and Kaylin. But it's only because you guys were here for the freshman jump start day and helping out with that. So maybe a little bit of information on that. Were you? Were you there? I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. Okay, so you guys can all speak to that. So that's even better.
He just wasn't on the panel.
Oh, that's why we're using your faces on the panel. You were there helping out in other ways. So you all can speak about the aspects of that. So maybe those three things, just those comments, okay? It is up. It is up. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. How's your recovery doing?
I'm here.
Yes, you are. You're vertical. All right. Hello, everybody.
How are you? Good. I forgot your little
Yeah. Oh, go ahead,
so let's chat sometime.
Hey, let's go.
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it gave the different bands, and I do need some more context that you can provide me the experts, but
I'll get through this.
I think I've made some pretty good. So,
Once I get through the
Definitely do that.
stuff,
The process, yeah.
in that column, I forget the name of it. I have it at the top of my head.
Yeah.
freshman jumpstart, and then
I know you didn't eliminate
what else
it,
was
you just
it?
it didn't come through.
Start to really summer. I think we've all done that a little.
My apologies.
No problem.
But yes,
Yeah,
I would love to have a conversation.
Good.
Oh, I don't get service in there, because it's in my personal email.
Ah,
But
yeah.
anyhow, but, yes, I need more context in terms of the expert knowledge of that.
And where you can
Because I don't.
post.
Yeah, let's have y'all do, because you were there during the panel.
No, it's okay. Where you are
Freshman
here,
jumpstart stuff. I'll
you
go
need
over
some people
opportunities.
to balance you.
I know sometimes when the people send out mass emails, something 40 times it doesn't want to go through.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So, yeah.
Just make sure we contact, we find out we're at a meeting.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
And then,
And they
you know,
were
once
those
we.
people who balance the counteractors and
It's for that.
Because that'll set up for the opportunity part.
so, yeah.
Oh, it's
I'm
interesting.
sorry?
It's
Rebecca.
And I know that those aren't cheap, so I can give, like I
You're
said in my
welcome.
text.
Rebecca here.
Yeah, and then you'll have to go into real parts.
Is Michael?
You can jump
Is
in.
Rebecca here?
all for good.
No, she's not.
And then I'll close this out. And then any questions we can. Speak, so just, whoever just.
Seems like it. Did you think so? That's a nice.
All right. Cool. On our toes,
He
all
and
five
I
here.
have yet to meet, but
Last minute planning?
I think he's going to give me some information about how you might need to work.
Bomb this target. Now bomb this
with
what?
Right, so you got seniors?
Yeah.
What do you-
Yes, our ball coaches.
Oh, so, yeah, my nephew's Damien, but he just started.
Really?
So he's not the full, oh, you might know.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm not happy
So, yeah,
about
he just-
that, but
Is he enjoying it?
I don't, well, he did today, I saw him there, I went over there. And, I don't know what he's doing, he doesn't tell me, all that, but, you know, yeah, I thought he had some kind of class of that, so. And
I'm not there.
Just know that, you know,
So it's nice. Are you the,
Yeah.
prepared to
are
say
you what,
Coordinators.
you're the what?
Coordinator.
Oh,
He's the big dog.
Whoa.
You are.
It's a team.
Okay.
I just like the team.
Where are you glad?
This guy
With
next
chain
door.
of command, though. Come on, I grew up this way.
So did I. What anyone decides to sign in my, I think we're ready to say.
All right, I'm gonna ask everyone to take their seats.
This is
My
1,
secretary
2,
isn't quite
quite ready, but she'll catch up.
But, I mean, here's your,
So, we're gonna go ahead and open up and officially School Accountability Committee for Mitchell High School, September 2025. The WebEx is open. Do we have anyone online?
Mr. Smith is online at this time,
Okay.
but it is open.
Okay. Is there anybody in the room who needs a translator? No, okay, that's good, because Ms. Rebecca's not here. All right, well, thank you all for coming. Is there anybody here who's at a School Accountability Committee meeting for the first time?
those three.
Our students, yeah.
The students.
Students here.
Students, where are you? Down here?
Nope,
On the other side.
Okay, you are always welcome here. This is about you and your school and how we're all a team together. I hope you will spread the word that the chair said any student can come anytime. Okay, I'm glad you're here. And so we're gonna start with you actually. We have a student spotlight to start off our meeting. We're gonna do this every month. So, Mr. Smith, you wanna introduce our spotlight?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 ROTC cadets. I'll allow them when they speak to introduce themselves because they are very well spoken in this situation, young men. They are our leaders, representative of our leadership in our building, and I thought it was nice to have them here this evening because, as you well know, we are honoring the tragedy that happened on 9/11 back in 2001. So we did that. Colonel and his team did a great job of hosting that in coordination with CSPD and Colorado Springs Fire, as well as city and district leadership. And so it was a great turnout. And so just the fact that they were here and involved in that, going into tonight, you can see they're in their dress blues, and so I just asked them to be here. So we really appreciate them being here. And I also am aware that they are involved in other peak experiences that the district and Mitchell High School specifically offers to our students, and a few of them have taken advantage of that and will continue to take advantage of that. They'll tell you more about that. And in addition, these gentlemen participated in the 9th grade Jump Start to kick off the 25-26 school year, and they can speak on that as well. So there's really 3 talking points there. They're highly involved, and again, it is a piggyback off of the wonderful ceremony that we had on campus today. So, gentlemen, feel free to kick it off.
Hi, I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Kalen Dawson. I'm the Corps Commander for Mitchell High School JRTC.
I'm Cadet Major Wally Castle. I'm the Ops Group Deputy Commander for Air Force JRTC.
And I'm Cadet Captain Isaac White, and I am JRTC's Communication Officer.
What year are you in high school?
Senior, ma'am.
All of you are seniors?
We're all seniors.
Look at you, just a little bit to go.
Okay. So, as you guys all know, we all started today with the 9/11 ceremony to remember not only the first responders and military veterans that helped the victims during that day. We also remembered the class graduate of 1975, Catherine Yancey Labori.
Well, no, I just want to say that the opportunities that we have here at Mitchell and in JRTC are great. Not only do they help give us a great experience, but they also have us have opportunities later on in life. Like here with Callan, a lot of his scholarships come here from D11 and from Mitchell, and
Yeah, me personally, Superintendent Gall, Mr. Smith, Colonel Hinson, and partnering with Aero Labs have provided me with 1 scholarship already, and I requested from them if they can't look into a secondary one so I can work on my private pilot's license. But D11 and the Mitchell community in a whole gives so many great opportunities. Like with our unified area, we're going through bowling right now. I'm a partner with that. And I think that's an amazing opportunity, as well as here at RATC, we are provided with so much, including the honor of being able to do, like Wally said, the 9/11 ceremony. food pantry here at Mitchell. Formerly, we had the Drive Up partnership with Care and Share and United Way. That is unfortunately, and also kind of fortunately, going away because we will have the opportunity to host our very own food pantry open to the Mitchell students, staff, and community here. I get to partner with that. I'm the senior class president for our student council. So those are wonderful opportunities we've been given.
And we also did the jump start for the freshmen. We took a little bit of time out of our summer to help kind of guide the freshmen into the school year so they know where everything is, when and how to get to their classes. Like we showed them where the IA building was, the gym building, and how upstairs was mostly science and math, and then downstairs is mostly English and social studies like that.
So, as I'm sure some of you know, we had representatives from student council, theater, drama, I guess those are the same, and then a few of our other just individual students. Isaac was there helping out with individual tours as well as Wally and myself, but we were given the ability to sit on a panel where students were able to ask us questions. And I think those type of opportunities are great, not only for us to work on public speaking like we are now, but also for our up and coming freshmen that are, going to run the school by the end of their 4 years, to really understand what the school's about. In closing, because that's about it, I would like to thank you all for letting us be here today, and thank you to those who were able to get to our 9/11 ceremony this morning. We are open to any questions.
So, not a question, I just want to extend on a couple of things. Big takeaways from today's 9/11 ceremony. The one thing just for the audience or in the SAC is we know that our students were not born when that happened, and Colonel does a great job of providing education not only within the ROTC program, but delivering or providing lessons for teachers to deliver throughout the school. But to the young men, what's your key takeaway from the 9/11 ceremony that you'll take with you maybe for the rest of your life?
One key thing I'll probably take for the rest of my life is meeting Miss Lindsay's dad. Yeah, Mr. G.
Mr. Jean, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Any you guys can chime in too.
One key takeaway is just how we were able to honor family, friends, those that are around and those that it impacted, and pretty much that's it.
Awesome. So members of the SAC family, you said last spring when these mature young men were just juniors, I'm sitting at the office one day and I get a phone call from a retired firefighter in California. And he's like, Colonel, I heard you have a 9/11 ceremony. I'd like to attend next year. I said, well, sir, it's open to the public. We'd love to have you. He goes on and shares the story that starting today, he is going to start a bike journey across the country, finishing at Ground Zero next September 11th. And every mile of the journey, he's going to lay a dog tag out, military dog tag, with the name of the victim. So this morning, he handed the first tag to Mr. Yancey, Mr. Yancey, these guys are saying. So that's my takeaway. It was incredibly powerful.
Yeah. I have one very big takeaway that, I'm going to drop it. That is with what Colonel Hinson just said. There was a time on his journey here to Mitchell that his car broke down, his support vehicle broke down, and he was almost not to be able to attend. And in the script, we always have to pivot and be prepared for anything. So my biggest takeaway was the fact that there was a chance I was able to prevent the first tag on behalf of Mr. Martin. And we used Mr. Bookout's new room, his Create Center, to make our own versions of the dog tag. And I was given the one we were not able to present. But I think this is a great takeaway that, in every aspect you have to be able to
life lesson, be flexible, right? All right. And moving on to another point that we can expand upon in terms of peak experiences, which is a focus of the district at this point, and hopefully continues to be. And with Kalen, how many hours of flight time do you have underneath your belt right now?
I have 10 hours.
10 hours of flight time. He self-advocated to Superintendent Gall, where the district is now looking at funding more flight hours towards hopefully pilot's license.
Yeah, last year, well, I guess it started when I got here, my sophomore year, not junior year. Sophomore year, I got here, didn't really know much about the area, I knew nothing at all. Got to here at Mitchell High School, I looked at every school in the area, trying to figure out where it was at. The biggest key thing was RITC. And when I got here, you know, I mentioned that I really love RITC because that's what I did back home in Georgia, which I can probably say this is my home now. You know, I got here, joined RITC, was introduced to the drone program and the aviation pathway that Mitchell High School and D11 offers. Immediately interested in that. I wanted to be a pilot since I was 2. My dad bought me a little flight suit that I used to wear around. I even wore it to school once or twice. But joined that. Don't judge me wrong, you want to be a pilot? But got into there, and then this amazing opportunity through Aero Labs was brought to me, and myself, along with Jack Richards and Preston Jones, and I believe 3 or 4 others from outside of Mitchell High School's community, but in D11 were invited to go to ground school through Aero Lab. So I was able to take a in-person ground school with Aero Labs on behalf of Mitchell to start that process, and then they awarded myself, Jack Richards, and Preston Jones and the others with $2,800 so we could get flight time. And I'm now working with Arapahoe Flight Club to do so.
So, opportunities. And then my final kind of prompt is, do you feel that student engagement from the upper classmen, you folks, and we had others there too on that day. These guys just represent a small portion of the students, the upperclassmen that were there to help us with the freshman jumpstart. But do you feel that the freshmen maybe are off to a better start, or what was the difference from you maybe being freshmen and that experience?
I feel like that with the Jumpstart, it also gave us the opportunity to disclose with the freshmen that high school is not only, or especially here at Mitchell, it is not only for graduation, but there's also many other opportunities that they can use for their future career. But it's just that they got a better start now, knowing that they got more opportunities. There's way more to school than just the regular academics, and they could use that to their advantage.
Great.
I think it was great because when I started freshman year, they didn't do that for me, per se. So having people kind of guide you into your school year and telling you what you could do and what opportunities you have in school before you go to do your career or job that you want to pursue is honestly amazing.
Thank you.
We didn't have anything like that in Georgia, so being able to talk with this incoming freshman, honestly, on my side, I really wish I had the similar thing, because I was just kind of thrown into high school in a school I knew where nothing was at, and we had, similar to Mitchell with our 3 buildings, we had 4, and there was a lot of running around that I had to do, and no one was telling me anything. Freshman Jumpstart, I met Ian, who is now in ROTC and doing great. He was out there, I believe, in the 2nd element today, in our first year flight. He still comes up to me today and asks me questions. So I think it was a great opportunity for them, because they get to, you know, start recognizing a few faces before they get thrown into the mess that is high school.
So with that, thinking about what you all just said, and also what you heard from the freshmen on Jumpstart Day, their questions or their comments since then, because we're the accountability people, which means we're here to support and guide folks on the straight and narrow, students, staff, community members, parents, and communication, open communication. So do you have any questions, requests, or feedback for us about what you have heard those freshmen might need still or more of, or like you've already given us your big takeaway, you're gonna carry Mitchell with you in your pocket the rest of your life. But how can we be more supportive to this school community? Or how can we strengthen transparency and accountability? And you can chew on it. You don't have to tell me tonight. I'd love for you to come back and come with some answers or some more questions. But if you have something now, that's what we're here for.
Not at the moment.
Well, I think we're gonna need a
Sure.
second meeting to chew on.
Yeah, okay. That's my request to you. Will you spread to the students? Accountability committee is not scary. We're not scary folks, I promise. We even have food. If you're coming to eat. And we want to be here for all entities of this community. So we want to be supportive in whatever way any group of this community needs. So spread the word. In fact, I might just make a rotation where somebody from our OTC comes one month and student council comes the next month and arts come the next month. So anyway, that's there for you. Thank you. You guys are great representatives of Mitchell. So proud of you. We have a lot to overcome as far as our perception in the Springs community about Mitchell, not just in the 11, but broader perspective about Mitchell, and you're great representatives of that. So, thanks for coming.
May I ask you guys to spell your first names, please? I don't want to put your last names, I want to get your first names correct.
Did you want to project anything for the
IS,
No.
AA.
Got that? Okay.
Everything
that has names
LL
stuff.
I
Thank you. Had that wrong.
WALLY.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Colonel, thank you for your leadership. All right, have a good night. Thank you for staying late with us, okay?
always.
All right, get some rest.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Take care.
Okay.
Alrighty, so, I want to backtrack just a wee bit. Did everybody get a copy of the minutes, or do you know where to access those at? Anybody have any corrections or additions to the August minutes? Okay, they are on the website, if you didn't directly personally get a copy. Very nice. So, forgive me, I don't know who all's in the room, so I'm gonna pick on people and hope that they're here.
So, let's just tell you, Joe, Aida, Terry's here, Irene Cornelli, and Lavery, thank you.
Assistant principal, yep.
Yes.
So, Sharon, I'm gonna pick on you first.
No.
Give me some feedback about back to school night.
I can't give you feedback
Oh, it
because I
was just
wasn't here.
Rebecca, you weren't up, right?
Right.
All right, Mr. Smith, you're up. Miss Lavery, you were here too?
Yes, ma'am.
All staff were here, so I guess I'll put you on the hook first.
Okay.
So, Ms. Lavery, you are
Yeah,
For back to
about
school.
back to school night or something different?
back to school night.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is my second year at Mitchell. It was the biggest turnout that I have seen for any parent event. And I think what really made it was our advertising, and then students were able to go around and show their families, and we were able to make those connections with parents. We had community members here in the hallway. I don't know exact numbers, but I would like to say like 50 plus families were here, which is a big improvement from last year. I think there was like 4 or 5. So it was a very successful turnout. We still got room to grow, but compared to what we have seen in the past.
To what do you attribute that?
I think a lot of things. Between organization, the communication systems have gotten better. The new Power School Messenger is very helpful in communicating and able to track. Our Marauder Weekly also had those in, so parents that were getting that information were able to see it. And I'll just shout out our celebration. One of the things that I'm really excited about this year is we're really well planned. We have our calendars very organized with events for the rest of the year, and we did it in May. It was actually a process. Mr. Smith took us through my first May and then last May to make sure that the things that are priorities and important to us are on our calendars first. And parent involvement is one of those things.
I'll chime in too. Just the fact that we had SAC presentation there was powerful because I know Delia mentioned to me in passing on that night that she was able to get some contacts from parents that were interested in exploring partnership with the SAC in particular. Now I don't see any new faces tonight, but we do have contacts that we can reach out to. And we were able to obtain those contacts on that night, and it was just nice to have that partnership visible and present, knowing that we're continuing to build on that. So that's another highlight, I would say.
Were any of you there? Joe, were you there? Or John?
Joe. It's Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just asking, were you at this?
I was there. I don't think I signed in though, because I didn't find the signage. Yeah.
So because none of those new contacts came, we did send a personal invite to them via email. But if we wanted to reach out even more personally, Mr. Smith, what are the parameters around that? Because we are all lay non-staff people, so I know there's a confidentiality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we can do is we could reach out from a school perspective to those folks, make contact, and ask if they are willing to either have us share their contact with chairpersons or vice versa, ask them to reach out to, contacts, because to the best of my knowledge, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that Miss Webb and Mr. Bibbs' phone numbers are updated on the website. I think Sharon's actually is too. So Sharon's shaking her head yes. So we could do that. We can facilitate that either way. It's a couple of phone calls. Would you mind if we shared your contact with our officials, our SAC officials? Yes or no? If not, please reach out and extend that offering.
But that's where it gets sticky, because they already have, right? So that night in person, they did give it to us. So.
Well, that's true. So really at that point, I don't know that there are any stipulations because they gave it freely that night.
Okay.
I have never had to cross that boundary because we haven't had the involvement at that point. But if they gave it freely that night, I don't see why not. Because I think that the contacts were received by Delia, who was representing the SAC.
So she had a table and I had a table.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I received a list of names and some email or phone numbers. And Terry, may I ask, did the people receive a special invitation, or did they just receive the minutes like the rest?
They received a special invitation along with the minutes and the newsletter.
Thank you.
Because we've been, and that's a good point. And when I say we, it's Terry and I, out of my office in particular, we have really made a concerted effort to individualize, or what should I say, I don't know. Personalize maybe, yeah. The extension of the newsletter. So it goes out to the whole community if their emails are updated in the Power School. If not, we even forward that one more time with emails that we receive and other emails to different folks that we feel would have interest in knowing what we're putting out. So yeah, that's just a little bit of context on that.
So if anybody else is willing or able, and wants to personally reach out to any of these folks that signed up or offered their information on back to school night, I do believe that when it comes from another parent to parent or community to parent, community to community kind of person, it is received in a little bit different view, where it's a little more relaxed maybe, or it doesn't feel as pressuring. I am gonna say I'm putting myself out there for accountability, so I'm gonna get with Sharon and get those contacts and do my best to reach out. But if somebody else wants to support that, I do think people really need the personal touch to really feel like, yes, definitely, we want you. You are not a number. We weren't there just because we're putting a face on for the school or whatever, right? So, from a DAC perspective, we're really working on that this year, and we talked a lot about, you know, how do people really feel prioritized, maybe, or like it's not a show, basically. So with that, I'm also gonna say, if anybody has any suggestions, ideas, or objections to us having one of our own be at least a Spanish translator for all our meetings here on out. Like, for example, tonight, I asked those of us here in the room don't need one, there's no one online, I presume. But again, it's not presentation, that's the wrong word, it's the forethought of being prepared, right? And so, and other buildings have found that when they have, for example, a translator, prepared and present, that is from the community, who can really identify and relate to that individual community, it again is received more sincerely or more significantly, instead of just saying, hey, Mr. Smith, please ask the district to hire a translator. So I know Rebecca is a fluent speaker. If any of you are, or know of anyone else and want to throw their name out or ask them to contact me, I'm open to that. But I feel like that's important, again, so people realize we really are working for them. We really want this two-way street with all of the community.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Any other ideas or comments on that? All right. I don't know, you're a tough crowd. Don't fall asleep on me.
I do one avenue potentially just for forethought. We had a collaboration with Colorado College and their Spanish immersion group. That's I cannot say the name, or I would tell you what their name was. But they are coming in to tutor our students, our Spanish speakers particularly, as part of their service project, and they all speak Spanish fluently and are willing to service in those sorts of ways if necessary. They're all college students at the time, so we can get them in connection too, and they will help with they can help with that reach out too.
It's a great idea.
It also would be very appropriate to ask another parent who is a Spanish speaker, Mitchell parent, to, hey, would you mind being the translator for the SAC, or would you come to this meeting and for this meeting, and then as they get more comfortable and familiar, they may bring someone else or say, hey, I can't do it next month, I'm gonna ask so-and-so to do it. So that's another avenue as well. And just, again, individually trying to help people know what SAC is and hopefully get them involved. So
No, great point.
let's keep track of both those ideas, because I do think it needs to happen. Okay, Mr. Smith, 2025 PE, SAT, and SAT scores from last spring.
Yes, so what I just distributed not too long ago are the SPF pages that have been released. We are happy to announce that the data has been, the embargo on the data has been lifted, and we're able to share that. And so we did bring that SPF. We are officially out of turnaround and back into priority improvement, which we are very pleased about. Thank you so much. Yes, and it's the effort of everybody in this room as well. And so it's something that all of us should be proud about. I am going to be putting out, and this is going to be a bit premature, but those who do receive the newsletter and are going to get that on the 14th coming up, this Sunday coming up, will see a message from the principal which says exactly what I just stated, and we are not satisfied. We are pushing towards improvement and into performance. That is the goal. That is the goal of the district, to have every single school in this district in performance. We want to be the premier district in Colorado Springs and possibly the state. So with that being said, we're happy to be out of turnaround. We're happy to be in priority improvement, but we're pushing forward. To the PSAT SAT data, the scores are going to be in some of the numbers, and that's why I brought Miss Lavery with me, our wonderful assistant principal of curriculum instruction, because I think it's great to have more than just one voice in the room. Miss Lavery in year 2 is doing an excellent job, and a lot of the initiatives, I'll call them initiatives at this point, in terms of addressing PSAT and SAT, she has brought with her from the Denver region, where she previously resided and worked, but those strategies seem to be paying off, and we're only in year 2 with these strategies. So without letting the cat out of the bag too much, I'll go ahead and turn it over to her, and she can expand upon the data and the strategies that I'm referencing.
So incoming to Mitchell and leveraging what was already in place in the system related to STAR, I noticed a gap in particular for our students to have practice with taking PSAT, SAT at the caliber it was. STAR doesn't necessarily do that because it's adaptive, and a student might never see a grade level question if they are behind. In my previous life, I worked at central office, and one of our initiatives was this Horizon platform. What Horizon is, now called Progress Learning, was a whole bunch of nerdy educators that worked at College Board that came together when the new PSAT, SAT came out, and developed a series of 3 tests that mimic exactly what SAT, PSAT is. So last year we gave our students 2 practice tests, one where they had an alternative schedule day and took the assessment, and then one where we broke it apart and they took the math part and the ELA part. We then correlated that data. So I pulled data from every single student and then ran it to what they actually scored on SAT, PSAT. That was one of our interventions, and could name and made the phone calls to students who performed well on the practice test and might have given a little less effort on the actual PSAT, SAT test. And I've talked, there was 42 students on that list personally with all of them. Monday, we will engage in our first practice test as a building. 9 through 12 will be taking it. They will take it in the morning from 9:30 to 12:30. The plus of this platform is I can immediately allow students to see their scores and the questions they missed. And so they will take it in the morning, go to lunch, and then they will analyze their results and come up with goals on how they're going to improve on the January practice test, because they will take another practice test in January and be able to analyze those results immediately as well. This is our big structure to addressing some of that, because students, beyond exposure to the questions, needed exposure to the strategies, how to use the calculator, how to use the platform, and Progress Learning does that. We also were able to catch trends and address them last year that we wouldn't have known otherwise. For example, in the first practice test, we noticed that the majority of our students, like in the 80 percentile, didn't answer any of the free response questions. And so then we figured out why they didn't answer the free response questions, and it was really simple. There's two sides to the screen. One side is directions, and it's like 4 pages of reading. The other side was often a problem, and kids didn't even try to look at the problem because they saw the left-hand side and a lot of text, and they just went to the next question. And so we were able to strategically work with students around not just content, test prep and types of questions, but how to use the calculator, where it is, how to flag a question, these strategies that then they could take place on the actual PSAT, SAT date. And we will start that again on Monday. Through that process, they will analyze, then in January they will take it again. So they will have 2 practice tests under their belt this year. It also, on the other side, has allowed our adults to be able to take the practice tests too. I can assign it to them so that they have exposure and the real-time feedback around what those types of questions look like. And we're seeing that translate into practice questions and various strategies to really align what's happening in the classroom to the display of knowledge that a student has to demonstrate on PSAT or SAT.
So what was the spectrum of the 2025 scores? So last year, who took the test? All 4 grades?
No, so last year we only did it with 9th through 11th.
Okay.
This year, 12th grade, they're having mixed messages. And mixed in their head, there was a group of students that were polled representative that advocated the 12th graders take the practice test because we have a large population that wants to retake the SAT to get a better score before they go to college. So while they won't necessarily, unless they opt in, have to take the actual SAT to go into our SPF again, the seniors are going to take it, 1, for practice, and 2, because beyond exposure to the test, just as critical is students knowing where they're at and analyzing and goal setting, and so we want them to be part of that. So this year it's going 9-12, last year just 9th through 11th took it the 3 times.
So what was like the average score, and how does it compare to other high schools? And was there, a theme between a grade level?
No, what I can, yes and. The average score differed. Usually it's broken down between English and writing. We're about the 300 mark. Does not meet in our academic performance, no matter what the grade level is. That's staying pretty consistent. However, this year, if you compare cohort to cohort, which I did, so like the 9th graders as they moved to 10th grade, to your point, Miss Webb, they went up an average of 40 points. So plus 40 points to the general score was the case. So if a student started with a 300 in writing, they pushed up to about 340 was the average growth we saw in just a point number, which is extremely significant to that growth. And our students are performing very similarly. So what we realized last year, if you're a math person, is the correlation is almost statistically accurate. If students gave their best on the 2 practice tests that we took, that was identical or within 20 points of what they actually scored on the real SAT, PSAT, so it was a very good predictor. And this year now that we have 1 year under our belt, we're really gonna hone in to not just the growth, but the achievement, and lever that with students, because we do have evidence that the intervention worked. And it's flatlining now that the SAT is in year 3 at the national level, because the adjustment that was made from the old SAT to the new SAT There's a large learning curve there, just with structures. For example, 5 years ago, SAT required you to read passages that were 2 to 3 pages long. Now a student, no question, on the SAT has more than 200 characters that students are reading to analyze. So they're never reading an entire text on that, and it has allowed us to shift our practice to that. And in our actual SPF, which you do have, you see that in our academic growth is approaching. We're grown, we're at 17.8 out of the 40 points, so almost halfway there. We did outgrow every high school in our system by double. So for example, the average score, if it went up 20 points at another school, ours went up 40. So while we're not hitting achievement yet, we're doubling the growth. We doubled the growth last year of every one of our other high schools. They had single digit numbers and we had double and high doubles in cases.
And I'll piggyback off of that point because I think it's a good segue. When you look at the SPF on page 2, first of all, the overall SPF grew by 4.5 points, which is actually significant in terms of SPF numbers. And that's what has put us solidly into the middle of priority improvement in 1 year. Not only just the strategies that Ms. Lavery's talking about, but we're talking about that specifically because of the PSAT SAT metric. But when you look at the second page of the SPF, does not meet comes all across the board for academic achievement. And we all know who have served in turnaround for 5 years, going into my 5th, but I'm rounding up. That you've got to get the growth first before you push into achievement. So to Ms. Lavery's point, doubled the growth out of all other high schools. It's growth. It's not achievement yet. But what I'm very proud about are our English language learner proficiency growth. Both of those are in approaching for the first time. And also you can see that PSAT SAT math really made some gains with approaches in that category. And so even with the PSAT reading and writing approaching overall, and so we're making headway there. Now, just to give you some ideas about PSAT, in order to get into the achievement range for approaching for achievement, for ELA, the cut point is 415, and we scored an average mean scale score of 377. So there's still a lot of work to do in literacy to get in, to start pushing into the achievement realm. And then with math, the cut point is 387, we're at 351. So actually the gap for math is smaller. That's how much growth we made in math last year. And if you have heard some of Superintendent Gall's comments, the district is lagging in math. I don't know, we're lagging in achievement, of course, but in terms of growth, I don't know this for certain. I'd argue we might be leading the growth for math. So 387, 351, I will give central offices credit in terms of the adoption of the curriculum, giving that to the board to approve. The Envision Solvis curriculum for mathematics, it is proving to be a very solid curriculum that our teachers are grasping and the students are starting to latch on to as well. And then finally in science, the cut point would be 721. We're at 714. So we are literally 7 points away from pushing into achievement in science. So we are on this cusp of really turning a tide upwards and continuing trends where we're not seeing implementation dips and this ebb and flow of SPF data over the course of time. We're really at this critical point where if we hit critical mass, Mitchell will not go backwards.
So as students prepare to take the first practice round on Monday, are they aware of this growth that they've accomplished?
Not yet, because the data just got lifted, I want to say last night.
Yeah.
But it will be socialized and shared and celebrated, absolutely.
Yeah, celebrated, that's the word, right? Like, they need to know they've done well, and if each one just does their own growth, sometimes less is more, right? So even if each one of us only moves up 2 points, collectively, we've done great, so.
There's other strategies we're implementing alongside of it's called progress learning now. You know how companies, they buy and sell each other, join. It was Horizon last year, progress learning this year. If you go to the platform, you'll see that the transition is starting to take place on their websites. So if we go back and forth, forgive us, we'll try to continue to use progress learning moving forward. But along with that, we do have an instructional coach in the building who is trained in PSAT SAT development for students, and actually has grown a number of students in the local area. And we have the advantage, and I'll celebrate this as well. Still to this day, we have 2 openings on the ESP side, and we did run into a bit of a hiccup in our aviation science class. Though it is staffed, it's not staffed with a field expert. Though we are partnering with Falcon Aero Lab, who's coming in to supplement instruction with us. So we're not skipping a beat with that, and we're using our community partners. Why do I bring that up? We're fully staffed, and our staff is more talented than it has been in the past. This instructional coach who I'm referencing, in terms of knowing the PSAT, SAT inside and out, and growing students over the course of his years, is in our building, and we are looking at creating a section that is going to be specific for PSAT, SAT enrichment for students who can engage in that while they're here at school in their normal day, who are interested in increasing those scores and potentially looking at colleges and universities in particular where those scores can be applied for scholarships and acceptance. Yes.
Did Mitchell have last year, during their PSAT testing, did they have a lot of students that opted out, or
No.
did you have a full
If
turnout?
you look at, since I've been principal, and I can't take sole responsibility for this, I do think that one of my strengths are systems, but I have to have talent around me to execute the systems. And so I look again at Assistant Principal Lavery, who has filled the vacancy that was created by now Principal Cockrell down at Swagger. Principal Cockrell, when she was serving here as my AP, was the school assessment coordinator, another SAC, right? School assessment coordinator. If you go all the way back to 2021, on page 1 where you look at participation, Rebecca, which is I think maybe what you're referencing, every year we meet participation with minimal opt-outs. Does that
So
answer?
They don't opt out.
No, our kids do not opt out.
Can they opt out?
Yeah, so we had about 6 at each grade level that opted out for, excuse me, for various reasons. But that was it. The majority of them either were present, well, they were, the rest of them were present on, we did a 1-day or half-day test, and or we have a week to make it up. Systems is also one of my strengths in organizing, and so we were able to get everybody, and or our assistant principal over behavior did home visits. So if students weren't showing up and their attendance was an issue, he did over 45 home visits in the week of testing to get students in, to make sure that we could get them tested the way we needed to if their parents still wanted them to do it and not opt out.
And the multilingual learners?
Yep, they were present. The one area I would say that goes into this that is a place of growth that we have named is one of the additional assessments in here, and it's usually not talked about, is access. And that's the WIDA test that all language learners are required by federal law to take in February. We have some room to grow there. As the assessment coordinator, One, we're fully staffed. Last year we had one CLVE teacher. This year we have 5, and we have 140 students we need to test. And the structure of that test is a little bit more challenging. So students have to take a series of 4 tests, one in reading, one in writing, one in speaking and listening. And the group size can be no more than 5, which requires a lot of systematic, and they have to take it a certain order. This year we have a much better plan with more human capacity to make sure students were tested. And tested on time. Some of our gaps for WIDA last year were students tested 2 or 3 of the domains and not the 4th one. And that was a mix of our structure as well as some of the political climate, and we had a little bit of a harder time in the spring of last year with our MLL population and them coming to school. Around a lot of things.
Do they take the PSAT?
They are required by law to take it.
The PSAT.
Yep,
And how do they receive help?
They don't. So the PSAT is an English test. So one of 2 things can happen.
For practice.
Oh, so they took it too. So they take the practice test along with everyone else. On the actual assessment though, they are not allowed to get any language translation. If they are within their first 6 to 9 months in the country, they can have an English-Spanish dictionary or English native language dictionary. But if they opt to use the language support, it does not go to our SPF. It is actually excluded from our data because it is not a true representation then of their English ability. So yes, they take this, they participate. However, and last year they were almost completely integrated. This year we do have 5 language teachers, which has allowed us to make sure all of our language learners have a reading class for language and an English class that is sheltered specifically for language learners to support this development, because statistically that group is the fastest to leverage to see support because they are proficient in a language, and adding a second language is a lot faster than a first language.
Do you have any of them, sorry I'm belaboring on this, but I'm just curious, do you have any students that come to Mitchell that come without an academic background from their countries?
Yeah. We have about 15% of our, so different than a lot of what I would say is historical language development last year. All of the language learners we got, it was year 1 in the country, and most of them was year 1 in English. So we went from enrolling almost 90 newcomers last year to all of them are in their 2nd year in the United States. But of that population, we have a large group of students from the Cuban and Venezuela background that do not have formal education to our extent that we would see, or stopped at about an 8th grade and
even
started
the Cuban
working.
students? Yeah. Wow.
Now, none of them have no education, but most of them stopped at like a 5th or a 6th grade sort of level.
So did my parents.
Yep.
Well,
Sorry.
go ahead, no, please.
What's the name of the test that the students are required to take? WIDA?
WIDA Access.
WEDA?
WIDA.
Thank you.
So it's Wisconsin something
Thank you.
conservatory, I don't know. It's the national test.
Thank you.
Well, I'll say this, back to Rebecca's initial question about participation. Galileo, and I'll say it by name because they need to be celebrated for one, and they're our feeder, but they made it up to improvement. But at the top where you see the label where it says priority improvement for us, theirs will also say priority improvement. But if you look over to the right where the bar goes up, We're at the 35.7. They made it into improvement, but because their test participation wasn't sufficient, they actually got a priority improvement designation.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if they're going to go and appeal that or whatever they plan to do, but that's why test participation is so important. One, it's a more, it's a comprehensive look at your student body about what's going on. But two, it's important in terms of the number that you don't get deemed, so to speak,
Okay, you
on
either,
that.
sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you, you
No,
either get that participation at 95% or you don't get it.
It's one or the other.
Which is ironic, because I'm not sure of any high school in the nation that has a 95% attendance rate. And so that is often a factor, which is really helpful with the systems, because if you need 95% of your student body to test, and that attendance rate isn't there, the systems to make sure that that is in place, and we can catch students and reach out to families, because you either get the 95 or you don't. And I, as a school assessment coordinator, document. So if Miss Lavery decided that her son, who was the one that just called, wasn't going to test, I have to document and submit that to the state with a special code. There's certain codes I can submit that are valid, and there's certain codes that if I submit because the kid didn't test, it counts against us.
They included in the score.
Yeah. And so if they opt out in a way that is acceptable to the state, then the code allows them to not impact our participation. But if not, they do. So like
There's
if
a
we have too
criteria
many.
for opting out
No.
through the state?
Yes, and so parents have to sign a documentation for them to be officially opted out. One of the other scenarios that happens often, particularly in high school, is if a student transfers, they stay on our books if the other school district doesn't communicate about them. And so we have to track attendance. If they haven't been present for so many days, we can demonstrate with their attendance that we don't have access to that student, but that is all different codes. And if the absentee rate falls above a certain number, they count against us, because then we're not maintaining our population effectively and reaching out. So there's lots of different codes that a student might potentially get. The most common is the parent opts out, but we only got about 6 to 7 of those per grade level. The rest of the students.
What's your
test.
testing window for PSAT?
Oh,
and-
we
and
have
SAC?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And that opt-out and coding issue is true for any
Yes,
standard assessment,
Yeah.
not just PSAT.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be CMAS, it could be
Yes.
the, whatever they call it now, cadence, it could be, or the star.
Yep.
So, all of them,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
But they have to fill out an opt-out every year and one on every test. So one form doesn't opt you out for everything. You have to select as a parent explicitly what you want.
Does
So
the
each
opt-out
content-
ask reasons why they're opting out?
Nope. No.
It would be nice to know.
Yeah.
You
No,
know.
we don't get to ask that.
Last year we gave the assessment on the week of April 14th.
Yep.
So 14th through 18th, but we asked for, we found that the year before, so the year prior, the PSAT SAT went digital for the first time, which for our demographic, computer literacy sometimes is also a challenge.
Yeah.
So the year before, not only did the PSAT SAT and College Board go digital, which I still believe was a significant impact, reason
Yep.
why we were impacted. That was number one. Number two, we changed our testing schedule. And we had students come in the morning and then some students come in at night. Last year, or not at night, but in the afternoon. Last year, it was year 2 of the digital, so our students were more fluent and proficient with the digital technology. And then number 2, we went back to we're only gonna test a certain group on one day, we're only gonna test a certain group on another day, we're only gonna test the science on another day, and each one was half days. The district granted us that flexibility. Thank you. And yeah, it's not just one thing is my point. So yeah, we have the Horizon Progress Learning Test that we're doing. We really believe in that, and we use that, we leverage that in class instruction, support and enrichment, but it's the testing schedule. It's the
Because the window for WIDA is there,
Yes.
and then after that is PSAT,
Yes.
SAT.
Yes.
Yeah.
CMAS,
It's a 2-week
CMAS, yeah.
window.
all of that. And then you have the makeup window the next week.
Yeah.
And our kids, I will tell you this too, and this is here's another aspect that we don't like to talk about a lot. Last year was the first year that the courtyards were developed new or renovated, and the feel of the building is continuing to get better, more warm, safe, secure. We now have the vestibule, so the kids showed up last year with more confidence, more pride in the school, more pride in the space. Why? Because adults invested in it, in the space. And so when they come to the testing environment, they took the test more serious. And so we, we're again, we're not satisfied, we're happy, we're pleased, but we're pushing into those other indicators. In terms of another, and I know we're specifically on PSAT SAT, but I do want to bring up something on the SPF. If you look at post-secondary workforce readiness, which is a key piece of our vision at Mitchell High School, we talk about preparing all students for post-secondary workforce readiness, college, and career. We are only three and some change away from getting into approaching on page 1 for the post-secondary workforce readiness. That cut point, I believe, is 37.2. I can double check that. It's at the bottom. But we are very close. It's 37.5, and we scored a 34.6. So we're 3 points and some change away from getting into approaching on post-secondary workforce readiness, which once again will just continue to ascend us into the improvement or performance range.
Mr. Smith, I need to pause you here and excuse myself,
Okay.
actually. If you want to finish the agenda, I know that you're all highly capable.
Okay.
Sharon's gonna take notes, you can guide them through the rest, or Rebecca. I wanna put out there that and if any of you, again, are interested in doing this for me or with me, please let me know. But I would like to celebrate, the growth from this data for it to be in the weekly, coming out on Sunday night before these students test on Monday, both to their families and to them. So I'd like to write a little yay for you, paragraph to go in, so Ms. Blackwell, I can submit that to you.
She's gone.
She's gone, but that's okay. Yes,
Yes.
we'll make sure she gets it.
And Rebecca, do I need to send that to you for translation, or does it automatically be translated with the whole thing?
I will interject.
Yeah, interject, because we got the right person in the room for this as
I'm
well.
the one who writes the
Yeah.
Marauder Weekly, so no, I just need it in English, and then I can on the back end, when I send out the message, I also need to go and pick up my child.
And then next thing,
Yeah, you're good, thank you.
I don't believe we have a, staff representative here tonight, so I just wanna follow up and say that we do need a teacher representative for the SAC, if at all possible, and I said I was gonna reach out and I failed to do that. And if we would like an ESP and a teacher staff, that's fine, but we need some
Okay.
representation
Okay,
from them, so.
understood.
Yeah, so I'm sorry I have to run. If I had my own car and could just drive there in 5 minutes, I would, but I have this silly bus to deal with, so.
You are fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing before I leave, I'm sorry. Please talk about and consider and decide, our next Mitchell SAC meeting is Thursday, October 9th, second Thursday. However, that is also the evening that the DAC, the District Accountability Committee, is hosting the candidates, all candidates for the D11 board,
Okay.
which will be on the November ballot for the city. So I'm hoping that we're all invested in that and that we would be interested in hearing from all the candidates. They're gonna have a candidate panel. So I'm proposing, if we could entertain the ideas, that we meet at Tesla, same time, 5 o'clock, but at Tesla, and then we could just, again, shorten our meeting a little bit and go right into the panel. Again, somehow if you wanna take a vote or if you want to change our meeting night, but I think that
That's a good idea.
us investing in these candidates for our district's board to represent our staff and our students is a most priority, so.
Yeah, good point.
The DAC meeting will start at 6:30?
It starts at 6, it's not a DAC
6.
meeting, it's
Oh,
literally
it's a candidate
just the
forum.
candidate panel. Yes.
While we're kind of on that point, is anybody opposed to moving the location and keeping the time and the date and time? Is anybody opposed to that? I think it's a good idea. Okay.
So we're gonna meet at Tesla at 5 o'clock on the 9th
Yes.
and finish at 5:58.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So that sounds like that's the decision, Ms. Webb, on your way
Okay.
out.
So we'll make sure a reminder about that goes out.
Okay. Thank you.
How do I get out of this place?
Just push forward on that.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
She's gonna find a way.
Matthew, her son's here. I think he's
Oh,
got it.
he is, okay.